Hi everybody, welcome. We're going to start with centering in a seated position. So just find a comfortable spot and we can think about really dropping those sit bones down, just getting into a comfort level with the legs. Which leg is in front? Do you want to be in just a regular seated position, or do you want to come into a half lotus or maybe even a full lotus? How are your hips today? Depends, right? So find that comfortable position and we'll just take a few moments to settle in. So see if you can really think today about lengthening through the torso, softening these shoulders, just dropping them down slightly and then slightly opening them up. Your hands can just be resting on your knees, palms up or down. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose and then exhale through the mouth. And really all you need to focus on is your breath in this moment. Try not to bring in the worry from before this class, and try not to bring in the worry from after this class. Just be present here. And that's what the focus on the breath can really help us with. The inhale and the expansion of that rib cage, and the exhale and the contraction of the rib cage. Just notice that movement happening as you breathe. Notice some softness through the body with each breath. And enjoy this feeling of just being present. Staying where you are with your eyes closed. See if you can deepen the breath a little bit. Maybe counting to 4 or 5 on a nice deep inhale, really expanding that rib cage. And on your exhale, see if you can double that length. So if you were 4 or 5, you're 8 or 10 on that exhale. Nice, long release of the breath. Again, inhaling on that 4 or 5 count. Exhaling on double. Inhaling again. Exhaling double that amount. Again, inhale. And exhale. Good, and just gently open the eyes as the breath comes back to a regular pattern. Good, you might just wriggle around a little bit, moving the shoulders, moving the head, and let's switch the legs to the other ones in front. Good. And still dropping down through those sit bones and lengthening through the torso. Let's lift up the arms overhead. So you don't need to strain the neck or the shoulders by taking them back. See if you can bring the biceps a little bit forward in front of the ears and even turn them in. You can turn those baby fingers in a little bit. Soften your shoulders, reach up through the fingers. Good, and we're just going to do a little bit of scrunching and releasing of the shoulders. So lifting them up towards the ears and dropping them. Lift up and down, up and down. Now let's go a little faster. Up, down, using your breath, just finding the crunching through the shoulders. Nice. Breathe here. Good. And then release everything. And just press those hands down into the floor as you lengthen through the head and the neck. Good. Nice. And then just release everything. Good. So staying in your cross-legged position, you can switch legs if you like. Let's take the hands behind us. So open up the arms to the side. And let's take the hands behind and clasp the fingers. You can bend the elbows to get there. And the hands are right against the lower back here. Now again, drop down through those sit bones, lift up the heart, and squeeze the shoulder blades together as you take the heart forward. You might even lift the chin a little bit. And then you're going to slide these hands down towards the floor, continuing to open the shoulders and continuing to lift up the chin and open the heart. Breathe here. Good. Feel the breath. Feel the opening. Good. And then if you want, you can keep everything where it is, but you might be able to lift those hands away from the floor, away from the back, finding some length through the arms and through the shoulders, and then just continue to open the heart and lift the gaze. You're squeezing those shoulder blades the whole time. Good, and then release. And just let that go. Nice. Let's switch the legs, and we're going to do the same thing again, but switching the hands a little bit. So let's open up the arms. Take the hands behind. Now you're going to clasp your fingers, but you're going to move your fingers over one so that the other thumb is on top. So it's going to feel a little bit different. Now again, open up that heart. Take those shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades, the elbows are pointing back, and then slide the hands down towards the floor. Good, so you're trying to straighten the arms as much as you can. Lift the heart forward and up, and then lift the chin and the gaze, and breathe. So really finding this opening across the front of the body. And you can stay here, or maybe you can challenge yourself and lift up those arms a little bit more. It gets into the shoulders a bit more, right? If you want a little more opening, press back through those hands. Open the heart, breathe, breathe, breathe. Good. And take the hands down, release the arms. Good. And then you might just want a little bit of a roll of the shoulders and just a looking side to side of the head. Nice. Very nice. Good. Breathing. Now let's straighten the legs out. Just shake them out a bit. And we're going to keep things really active here with the legs. So just think about flexing the feet. So if you press through the heels, you can feel some activation in the legs. And just think about turning those inner thighs in towards each other, hands on the floor. Now point the toes, and then we're going to, or flex the toes, and then point the toes. Point them forward, and then lift the toes up, and then point forward. So you're trying to keep the torso nice and long. You're trying to keep the body nice and straight as you flex and point. Good, and then you can just change. You can do kind of opposite legs and see what happens. Pointing one, flexing the other at the same time. And then maybe you go a little faster and just feel the rest of the body moving slightly with that motion. Good, breathing. Woo, nice. Good, and just shake that out. Now keeping the legs out in front for now, we're going to shake the legs and we're going to open them up to a nice wide stance, but bring them back together again. And then open them up again. And then shake them back in. Good. And then let's open them up and we're going to hold here. So you might need to just adjust where you're seated. Maybe pull those glutes back slightly. Lift yourself up. So let's keep these legs active, keeping the toes pointing up, and have the hands just in front of us. So you might just stay up here nice and tall. You might even sit on a cushion to get here, or you might be able to walk those hands forward a little bit just to get a little more opening in the inner thighs. Now, same as we just did, you're going to flex the feet and then let's point them. Legs are going to feel different. Flex the feet and point. Good. Flex again. And point. Nice. Flex again and point. And let's do opposite feet again, just like we did. So point the left foot, lift up the right toes, and then go back and forth. Good. So you might feel yourself moving slightly side to side as you move the legs. Woo! Where can you feel this? Everywhere. In the glutes and the hips and the thighs. Oh, nice. Good. Now flex both feet. Bring yourself back up again. And let's just bring the legs back to center. Feels good. Okay, let's take the legs out to the side. We're going to come into a tabletop position and we're going to do a simple cat-cow. So I think we've all done that pretty much in any yoga class. Knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders, lift up that upper back. Now, inhale and drop the belly, lift the tailbone and the chin. So you really get a nice curve in the back, kind of rounding the front. Now tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin, and round the back, lifting the center back up towards the ceiling. Good. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin and the gaze, lift the tailbone. Exhale, really tuck. Such a nice spine opener, this one. Dropping the belly, inhaling and lifting the gaze, lifting the tailbone. Exhale, rounding the back, tucking the chin and the tailbone. Just a couple more. Inhale and exhale. Good. Inhale and exhale, really tucking and rounding the back. Good. Now let's come back to our neutral position here. You can bring the legs in a little bit closer. Let's tuck the right toes, press back through the heels. So you can start with just getting a little stretch in that calf, which feels really nice. But you want to make sure you're not sinking into the shoulders. Lift up through the upper back, put a little weight in that left foot, and then you're just going to lift the right heel to hip height and then take the foot back down. Lift it up so nothing else is moving. You're just lifting up the leg, getting into the glutes here. Good. Take it down, lift it up, take it down, lift it up, take it down. Good. Just a couple more. Lifting up and down and lifting up and down. Good. Let's just bring the knee forward and sit back a little bit. You can slide that back foot back, lift up the heart, kind of releases that right glute slightly. Good. Breathing, lift the gaze up, drop the shoulders. Nice. And let's come back to our tabletop position. You can just shake out one wrist at a time. Good. Back to neutral, and let's repeat on the other side. So tucking the left toes this time. Let's press that heel back. Good, getting a little bit of a calf stretch here. Lifting the upper back, lifting the lower belly. And then let's lift the heel up to hip height and down. Good, up to hip height and down. Keep breathing. Lifting and lowering. How you doing? Lifting and lowering. Keep pressing back to the heel. You're keeping the upper back up. Good. Just a couple more. Lifting and lowering and lifting and lowering. Fantastic. Let's bring the right knee forward now. Slide the right foot back if you can. And then lift the gaze, lift the heart. Just getting a little bit of a stretch here. And a little bit of an opening in the glute that we just worked. Nice. Okay, let's come back to tabletop. We're going to tuck our toes. And we're just going to lean back a little bit here. Lift the knees. Keep everything really bent. And then walk the hands to the feet. So keeping the knees bent and dropping the head down. You can really feel some release in the hips here when you leave the knees bent. And just let the head feel really heavy. And the hands can just be hanging. Now, just slowly press into the floor with your feet. Slowly start lifting up. You can keep the knees bent. Right? And then bring yourself up. Slowly, slowly. Last thing to come up is the head. Perfect. And then let's just roll the shoulders. Fantastic. Good. Okay. So let's keep the feet a little bit open here. And you're going to root down. You're going to lift up the toes though first. And just place one toe down at a time. So start with the baby toe. Try not to move your fingers at the same time. I know what you're doing. Take the baby toe down, then the next toe, then the middle, the second, and the big toe. Really root down through the heels as well. Lift up through the legs. So you might feel the knees lifting up slightly. And then create length through the torso and up through the neck and the top of the head. The hands are just beside you. Fingers reaching down. And just take a moment, you might even close your eyes, to be here in mountain pose. And just breathe here. Feeling strong, feeling rooted. Good. Lovely. Nice. So open your eyes again. You're going to keep your feet where they are. We're going to work on eagle pose. And we'll do it a little bit at a time, okay? So let's take the hands to the hips. We're going to just start with the legs. So keeping weight in that left foot, let's bend the right knee and lift it up. And then you're going to bend the left knee and take this right leg over. So if you need a wall, you might have your left hand on the wall. Now see if you can really bring those thighs together and drop the right foot down. So point those toes down towards the ground. You might be able to wrap the foot around the leg. Some of us are blessed with being able to do that. Otherwise, you're bending both knees, you're dropping down, you're lifting up through the torso, and you're feeling sort of the twist of the legs. Good, in this balance. Good. Now let's lift the knee up and take the foot back down. Good. And let's do the same on the other side. So rooting down through that right foot. Now remember in mountain, we were just rooting down and lifting up. So try to get that sensation again. Lift the left knee up and then bend the bottom knee, take the left leg across. Good. Pointing the toes down, squeezing the inner thighs in towards each other, breathing, keeping some length through the torso. Nice. Breathe, 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 breathe. Awesome. Let's bring the knee back up and then take the foot down and feel free to just move around a little bit. Okay, we're going to add the arms, which is going to be a nice twist of the arms. So we're going to be in a full twist. So again, you can have one hand on the wall and just twist one arm or put one hand into position, or you can try to hold on to the wall and then let go, just for a moment even. Okay, let's start with the hands on the hips. Weight over to that left leg. Let's lift the right knee and come into the eagle leg. So bending the bottom knee and bringing those inner thighs in towards each other, right? Pointing the toes down. Now let's open up the arms out to the side. Good. We're going to take the right arm under the left one. The elbow comes into the inside of the right elbow. Bring the palms together as much as you can and then lift those elbows up and you're going to feel some opening in the shoulders. Keep dropping that right foot down. You're squeezing the thighs together and lifting the arms up. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Lots of energy going into this pose. Good. Release and have the foot come beside you. Nice. And let's switch to the other side. Whew, how you doing? Weight over to the right leg. Let's lift the left knee, bend the bottom knee, take the leg across, bring those thighs in towards each other and point those left toes down. Good. Once you're there, open up the arms. Left arm comes under the right one, so bring those elbows together. Bring the palms together if you can and then lift up the elbows to really open up the upper back. Breathing. Dropping those toes down. Try not to hold your breath. Good. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Nice. Release. And then allow everything to just open up again. Good. Swish side to side. Lots of work in that pose. Really nice. Good. Now let's keep our feet a little bit wider. So just open up here slightly. Have the toes pointing forward. And we're just going to take our hands to our hips again. Now we're going to try to keep the legs in place and try to keep the hips from moving side to side too much, okay? So let's lean over to the right, keeping the hands on the hips for now. And then you can slide this right hand across the hip, lift the left arm over, and come into a nice side bend. Good. If you want, you can look up towards the ceiling, keeping that heart open, breathing here. Good. Let's open up. And we'll do the same thing the other side. So we'll start with the hands on the hips. Lean over to the left. Good. Keeping the legs in place. You're really just using the torso to lean, right? Slide this left hand across. Reach the right arm up over the ear. And again, you can take the gaze under the arm if you like to the ceiling. Just breathe here. Nice. Good. Come on back up and take the hands down. Good. Just heel toe the feet together and you can shimmy it out a little. Okay. So just like we did seated, we were doing that heart opener with the hands behind. We're going to do the same thing standing. So again, really rooting down through the feet just like we did with mountain pose. Lifting up, we're going to open up the arms and we're going to take the hands behind us. So bend the elbows to clasp the fingers, right? Squeeze the shoulder blades together so those shoulders move back, the heart moves forward, and then see if you can start dropping the hands down towards the floor. As the hips slightly move forward, the chest slightly lifts up, and the gaze reaches up towards the ceiling. Breathe here. Good. Feeling this nice back bend. Now see if you can bring the palms together, and maybe you can even lift the arms away from you. Finding a nice opening in the back and in the front. Good. And then come on back up and just release. Okay, we're going to do the same thing we did seated. We're going to repeat it again with a different clasp. So open up the arms, take the hands behind. Now clasp differently. Move the fingers over so the other thumb is on top. It's the weird part, the weird side. It feels a bit awkward. Drop down through the feet, lift up through the legs, squeeze the shoulder blades, take the shoulders back. Drop those hands down, and as you lift the heart, the hips move forward slightly to allow for a little bit of lean here. Think of gravity pulling the hands down towards the floor as you take the gaze up. Breathe here. Good. And then if you want, you can add lifting those arms away from the body and breathing. Really nice. Good. Enjoy the lifting from the heart. Good. Come on back up and release. Good. You can just shake out the wrists, move the hips a little bit, and just find a little more movement throughout the body. Good. Let's come back to the front of our mat. We're going to drop our head down. Just let it feel heavy. Let the shoulders come forward as you soften your knees. And then slowly allow the hands to get pulled down towards the floor. Keep your knees bent again and drop the head. Feel free to hold on to your elbows or take your hands behind the legs if you want to. Just allow some release in the lower back and in the neck and shoulders. Nice. Good, let's take the hands down. We're going to take one foot back and then the other foot back. Now, we're coming into plank here, so spread your fingers. Open those shoulders. Press back through the heels. Drop the hips, but lift the belly. Good. Nice straight arms, straight legs, looking down or towards the end of your mat. Good. Let's drop the knees down and just drop into child's pose. Hands coming back and dropping the forehead down. Good. You can even rock a little bit, the hips side to side, just to get a little movement into that part of the body. Nice. Good. Let's bring ourselves back up again and come to a seated position. Good. Okay. So just to come into the hips a little bit more, we're going to do Baddha Konasana. So bringing the feet together, You might want to sit on something, but you don't have to. Bring those feet together, and if you can with your thumbs, see if you can open up the feet, kind of like a book. We're reading a great book, and we're going to open it up so that the outsides of the feet are touching, and you can press into the feet together that way. Now let's lift up. Nice and long, soften those shoulders and lean forward, reaching with the heart. Breathe here. Depending on how open you are, your elbows might come to your legs and you can just gently open up the thighs with the elbows. Try to find length on that inhale. Drop the tailbone down, reach forward with the head and lean forward. Good. Breathe here. Nice. Keep breathing. Good. One more nice deep breath. And then come on back up to seated. Fantastic. Let's take the left hand to the outside of this left leg. Reach the right arm up and just lean over, still in this Baddha Konasana position. So the sit bones are moving down, this left elbow's moving back so that you can lean and maybe you lift the gaze up to the ceiling. Good. Dropping the right sit bone and the hip and keeping that right shoulder open. Good. Lift back up. Let's take the hand down to the outside of the right leg. Lift your arm up. Inhale and exhale. Bend the right elbow back and lean over to the right. Good. Open up the heart. Take the gaze up if you can and breathe. Nice deep breaths, keeping that left sit bone and hip down. Shoulder soft. Good. Come on back up. And take your hand back down. Good. And just bring the knees in. You give yourself a nice big hug. And release. So from there, with the back nice and rounded, see if you can do this in a nice controlled way. Keeping the knees bent. Slowly lower yourself down. Now come about halfway and stop. Holding here. You're working the core here. Try to keep pressing down through the feet. Good. Tucking in that belly. Now lift yourself back up again and give yourself a hug. Lift the heart. Good. Round the back and drop your chin and then roll back again. But we've got to stop halfway. Yeah, just hold it here. Just for a moment. It won't be too painful. Good. Dropping the belly. Keeping the feet down. Now lift up and hug. Lifting the heart. One more and I promise we'll go down to the mat. Okay, tucking that belly in. Lowering down. Now keep going down nice and slow and then hug the knees into the chest and rock side to side. Fantastic. Good. So this is a great position to come into a beautiful twist. So drop the knees over to the left. Open up the right arm to the right. You can have your left hand on your leg just for a little more of a stretch here. Drop the hip and take the gaze over the right shoulder and breathe. Nice deep breaths here. Good. And then come on back up. Knees to the center. And then drop them over to the right. Your right hand can come onto the legs. Reach that left hand away. Take this hip away. Just drop it down. And take the gaze over the left shoulder this time. And breathe. Nice long breaths. Good. Nice. Bring your knees back up again. Good. Let's just hug the right knee and straighten the left one. Good. Do the same on the other side. Good. Reach the arms overhead and lift the heart up towards the ceiling so you get a nice curve in the back. And then drop everything down. You might stay in this position for Shavasana with the knees bent. Maybe walk the feet out and drop the knees in just to release in the lower back. Or maybe you have nice straight legs and just lie comfortably that way. So whatever works for you. Okay? You can also have your legs up the wall. Sometimes that feels really nice. So allow yourself to just sink down. Enjoy the sensations from the practice. Notice the breath slowing down slightly. Again, just notice the sensations around you like you did at the beginning of the class. The sounds, the feelings on the skin, the feelings inside. Allow the breath to flow easy, smoothly. And let yourself sink down into the floor. This is your time to rest and relax. So give yourself 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes to rest here. This is for you. You've done a practice for yourself. So congratulations. And I hope you feel great for the rest of the day. Take care and namaste.